now watching We Talking Sports.
Hey, welcome back to We Talking Sports. Be sure if you're watching our show, be sure that you hit that like button so that we know that you like the content that you're getting. You can also follow us on Twitter at We Talking Sports 2, on TikTok at We Talking Sports 6, and on Instagram at We_talking_sports. DJ.
Yeah, We Talking Sports.
So hey, let's go ahead.
You can go through there. Yeah.
Let's go ahead and jump right in, and let's talk about these Cleveland Cavaliers who have won 6 out of the last 8 games and currently sit in the 6th seed in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, they're playing great basketball right now. I'm impressed.
I mean, I say they won 6 out of 8. So the 2 games that they lost in this 8-game span was to Utah and to Milwaukee. And those games both came down to like the final 30 seconds or whatever, last couple of possessions of the game, and they came up short. But they were in the ball game with those 2 teams, and those other teams who are more playoff savvy, more experienced, were able to make those winning plays at the end of the game that resulted in them winning. But probably the most impressive thing is in those other 6 games they were against winning teams, but not necessarily playoff teams. The Cavs blew those teams out. Each one of them.
Yeah, the Cavs are kind of the feel-good story. They really weren't supposed to be good, and now they're just out here being recognized as one of the potential playoff teams this year. And who would have saw that coming? I guess that's the way I feel about it. Like, I would not have saw that coming.
Right. I didn't think they would be as good as they are. And to be honest with you, I know Chicago was missing DeMar DeRozan the other day, but that's kind of no excuse for the way that the Cavs wrecked them in like 3 quarters. I mean, the game was over in the 3rd quarter.
Yeah. So, yeah, I would say that. So who do you think would be the MVP at this point? And I got to say it's between Jarrett Allen or you about to trip when I say this, but Jarrett Allen or Ricky Rubio. That's who I think. I think if you take away, and I'm just talking about at the beginning of the season. At the beginning of the season, starting from day one, if you take away Ricky Rubio, I don't think the Cavs are where they are right now. And, I'm his biggest critic. But I would definitely give him the credit that, it's like I just really love Darius Garland's development. I love, who this dude is. He is getting looked at like one of the top players and, the top young players in the league. Right. And I can't wait to – you think he'll make that futures game?
No, he's too old for that. That's first and second year's play. First and second year player. He's a 3rd year player.
So I kind of thought it was like that at the beginning, but I thought since they called it the Rising Stars thing, I thought it ain't really the same anymore. I think that's how it used to be. It used to be the 1st year players versus the 2nd year players, but I think they changed it to where kind of anybody can go. But I may be wrong. But that's what I thought. But yeah, I would love to see him get some of that shine. And he did get some at the Olympics. But, I think that he is that player who is ready to not just take the next step, but also become a brand. Does that make sense, what I mean by that?
Yeah, Yeah, I do. So let me ask you this then. With the All-Star game being in Cleveland this year in February, who on this roster you think has a shot at being named an All-Star?
Nobody.
So you don't think Jarrett Allen has a shot at being a center in the East?
Do I think Jared Allen has a shot to make the All-Star? Well, okay, so I'll tell you what. So the All-Star game is in Cleveland. But yeah, to me, no. Let's see. Centers, you talking about Giannis? You talking about Joel Embiid?
Well, no, Giannis isn't the center.
Yeah, I don't put any of them in the All-Star game. Maybe you give me this for a couple of years. You do something in the playoffs, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not there. I don't put nobody on this team on the All-Star game.
So
I don't put.
When I look at centers in the East, I look at you talking about Bam, and you talking about Joel Embiid. So those are that's the benchmark for centers in the East. Is those two. If one of those two can't play, is injured, whatever, Jared Allen will probably get the call next.
Yeah, I don't think that, dog. I mean, I don't even know who the centers are in the East, but I don't know. I don't think you just walk into that role.
Well, we talking about the All-Star game. It's not the Hall of Fame. You know what I'm saying? You get into it. Say it again. You get it's a combination. There's the fan vote, and then there's also the coaches and players vote after the fan vote. You know what I'm saying? That's who picks the final. The fans pick the starters, and then the coaches and players pick everybody else.
So I'll say this. Because the All-Star game is in Cleveland, it would be kind of difficult to not have a Cleveland player in it. But you have like Miles Turner, you got Brooke Lopez. These are centers that are in the East that you didn't mention. I'm just looking at stats.
Yeah, but neither one of them is having the type of season that Jared Allen's having. And again, this isn't a Lifetime Achievement Award. It's based off of what you've done this year.
Yeah, I don't think I'm ready to say that.
Okay.
I don't think I'm ready. I'm not ready to say.
Okay, so then let me ask you how you feel about this one then. What do you think DG's chances of making the All-Star team this season
are? 0.
0?
That's what you asked me. What do I think? Yeah, I don't think that. I think you want to give these guys awards before they actually earn them. But I don't know. I don't know. I'll just say that. Here's what I will tell you though. The Cavs last night played Minnesota, right?
Right.
So Karl Anthony Towns has to be one of the biggest disappointments I can ever remember. Like, I remember him saying, and the dude got skills, but who was it that started dogging his game?
Jimmy Butler.
Was it Jimmy? Yes. That's exactly what it was. With him, Jimmy Butler, and Wiggins was all playing in Minnesota. Yeah, man, he is a good player. He is good, but he is not a NBA winning basketball player. I would hate for him to be on my team.
You know what? Because I see what Jimmy Butler was talking about. Even like in yesterday's game, when the game really counted, I want to say he had like 9 or 10 points. But when we was up by 30, and it was in the fourth quarter, he just started trying to ball, and it was very obvious to me he was trying to just get his points before he sat down. Cat, yeah. Did you?
Yeah, like he is a big dude,
Yeah,
and he really like he is what you hope Evan Mobley does not become.
Oh, it's no way he'll become that. Well, when I say
No,
no
you
way, it's
can't
just
say
like,
that.
yeah,
You
I know.
can't say that.
I know. Okay, I know what you're saying, but I'm just saying it's just like he's already showed to me that he's not that he's more. He's not even he don't even come across as a stat guy to me. He come across as just a dude that play the game and let the game come to him because he doesn't even have to take shots early. He's went into games at halftime with 0 points and on 0 for 2 in the first half and just ain't been pressed about it.
Okay. So I'm looking at his stats. He's averaged 24, 25 a game every year. He's averaged double-digit rebounds every year. And for as talented as he is, as talented as he is, and he's been in the league since 2015, he has never taken that team nowhere.
Well, see, that's why I always say that, like, I don't use stats as a barometer necessarily to gauge how good of a player he is, especially when your points come in losing efforts. Because when you're not on a winning team, I mean, somebody got to score. Somebody got to have assists. You know what I'm saying? So all of those type of things, those stats to me, they just don't mean as much when you're not winning.
Oh, but he's talented though. So the thing about it is, if he was in a situation where, now I get it, centers you don't really play basketball that way anymore. But if he was in a situation, he would be a hell of a contributor to a team because he's a very talented player. He just don't have it mentally.
But
and that's what Jimmy Butler said too. Which is crazy.
He surprised me of, or not surprised me, who he reminds me of? It reminds me of like Dwight Howard. And it's to where Dwight Howard is a very talented player in terms of the way he can impact the game. He can impact the game in a number of ways, but he has he don't seem like he tuned in because he's a jokester and he just like to he's a loose type guy, you know what I'm saying? That's why him and Kobe never got along, because Kobe was very intense and in big games, and Dwight Howard is more of a jovial personality, and some people read that as like you're not tuned in because you know what I'm saying, you still cracking jokes, and here it is, game 7.
I see where you're going with that, and although I know it's levels to it, I wouldn't say that, because to me, even though Dwight Howard was this comedian out there on the court, he still was a dog on the court. Karl Anthony Towns is not a dog on the court. He is soft, and that's what they said about him. He was soft. Wasn't it Kevin Durant? I mean, not Kevin Durant. Kevin Garnett. Who was the person that called him soft? Was it Jimmy Butler or was it a commentator?
It was probably Jimmy Butler. Like, to be honest with you, I don't remember anyone else really going at them other than Jimmy Butler.
No, somebody went at him personally. So you're talking about when they went after him and
Wiggins.
I'm talking about somebody went after him personally. And I even want to say it was somebody that was still playing that he went against. But I really just can't think of a center.
Yeah.
So
we just keep coming up with the Jimmy Butler stuff. But it's just like at the end of the day, I see what he's talking about. And again, like I said, I just used last night's game as an example. He didn't seem the least bit bothered by the fact that they just got blew out. His focus was clearly on getting his points before it was time to sit down.
Right. We talking about Dwight Howard. Kobe called Dwight soft. So just
and
it is because it is. And again, that's why I say I compared them to, in the sense that they're both talented, but they don't bring the level of intensity or what people think should be the level of intensity to match their talent.
Right.
Or just that old school, I'm locked in, where, you know what I'm saying, where, you just all serious and don't, just serious. You know what I'm saying? They don't have that as competitors. In the fiercest moments, you know what I'm saying, they'll want to crack a joke or they want to make you laugh or something like that. That's just kind of who they are as people. They're just not as intense as other people.
But didn't he was he the dude that lost both of his parents to COVID?
Yeah. He lost 8 family members.
Right, to COVID. Right, I do remember that, and he got it himself, right? Because he was the dude that no, it was Rudy Gobert that got it that shut the league down.
Oh, right,
but
right. Yeah, you know, Joel Embiid was saying he still isn't. Which I think we all understand.
Joel Embiid to me is an enigma. He is an enigma. So Joel Embiid is a player that I would hate to be on the team that I like because he is crazy talented, but he moves like the Tin Man on the Wizard of Oz. You know, he all big. He is. I don't know if uncoordinated is the word that I want to say more than he just don't look smooth with what he do, but he gets results. Like he is a hell of a basketball player, but it just I don't know. He to me is an enigma. I would hate for him to just be my centerpiece on my basketball team.
Yeah, well, it's to me the only issue with him is his injuries because he's often hurt. But let me ask you this then. Because you know we're at that point already where trade talk in the NBA is reaching a height because I think it's as of Wednesday. You know there's rules as to when you're eligible to be traded. Meaning, if you signed a free agent contract at the beginning of the season, or if you were traded at the beginning of the season, you may not have been eligible up to this point to be traded again. But as of Wednesday of this upcoming week, I think 89% of NBA players will be eligible to be traded. So a lot of people that were signed as free agents and whatnot will be eligible to be traded as of then. So there is a lot of trade talk going on right now.
I'm glad you brought that up because I heard that on ESPN yesterday. So what does that mean? What is that? Does that mean that 80% of the players do not have a no trade clause in their contract, or what does that mean?
No.
80% of the players are eligible to be traded. What does that mean?
So what it means is because when you sign, when you're traded, there's a cool off period to where you can't be traded for so many months. You know what I'm saying? You can't just trade a guy like a hot potato like they used to do back in the day where he never even get a chance to unpack his bags. He's been traded 3 times. You can't do that no more. So now when you trade a player, when you trade for a player, there's like a period where that person is not eligible to be traded again. Well, that period has expired for most players that were traded for in the offseason. The same thing applies for when you sign somebody as a free agent. You can't just sign them as a free agent and then immediately trade them. No, there's a period in which you're not eligible to be traded again, and that period is expiring for them as well.
How is that different than the NFL?
How is that different than the NFL?
Yeah.
Well, you can relate it to business. So, like, if you get a new job, sometimes certain jobs have a 90-day no-compete clause where you can't sign to another company. You just can't work.
Okay. I don't know that it is off the top different per se than the NFL. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think because if you sign. Because no, the NFL is different though because the NFL isn't guaranteed contracts, so they can cut you almost pretty much at any point. Yeah, NFL can cut you pretty much at any point, regardless of whether you got traded for, whether you got you signed as a free agent. Now you may not necessarily get your signing bonus money back from them, but they can cut ties with you at any point.
Okay.
Like those 90-day no-compete clauses.
Yeah.
No,
that stuff is real. That is real. So again, where I was going with this though, with the trade deadline approaching, what kind of move do you see the Cavs making, or do you see the Cavs needing to make?
The move. So when I look at the Cavs, and me and you talked about this earlier, so I'm going to reiterate your point that I don't believe that the Cavs need anything to mess up their chemistry. Like, it would be very hard for me to want them to add a piece and lose a piece because I like the way this team is growing together. They're a real young team. Nobody has a lot of experience, and everybody's coming together. But at the end of the day, this is the NBA, and this roster will could look totally different next year. Although I do appreciate the fact that they pretty much got the same squad from last year, which usually does not happen in the NBA. What I think they miss, I think they miss a veteran, a good veteran, not Ricky Rubio, but a veteran who has some experience playing big games. And so I'll give you the name that I think of. PJ Tucker. So if you give PJ Tucker, and I know PJ Tucker sometimes checks power forward, but if you give PJ Tucker Isaac Okoro's minutes, just his knowledge of basketball and his ability to hit that corner 3-point shot and his toughness and his experience, I think, let's say so one thing that I've been saying since the beginning of the season is that basketball teams play different basketball after the All-Star break. That's when teams are trying to get seeded and stuff like that. So if right after the trade deadline you bring in a motivated PJ Tucker, let's say the Cavs are somewhere around the 4th seed, and you bring in a PJ Tucker, so he can look at this situation as, wow, you know something, I can take this team and we can do something. We can make some noise. I can make myself relevant. I think that would be, just off the top of my head, that would be the type of move that I can see improving the squad.
Okay. I don't know. I don't want to see the Cavs do anything, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because I just look at it like as well as we're playing, to me this season is not about winning the championship. It's about getting some playoff experience and making, Atlanta made a nice run last year as to where, some people even have them making the playoffs, but they not only made the playoffs, they made it all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals. And that level of experience, it goes a long way. It goes a long way. Now, don't get me wrong. You still have to be a talented basketball team, and you still have to develop your roster, and that's a key. That's the key to it, to me, is developing your roster, because you don't want to put the cart ahead of the horse when you're a Cavs organization and you have these young players. You don't want to bring in veterans to take that learning experience away from the young players that you're actually developing, and you're on a nice timeline or a nice trajectory in terms of their developmental steps of where they're at and where they will be after having a year in the playoffs. So you could bring in a PJ Tucker and he may make a play that an Isaac Okoro wouldn't, but Isaac Okoro is 20 years old. He's in the 3rd year of his rookie contract. And again, continuing to invest in these young guys that you drafted or signed when they were really young, I think is the key to us winning, because it's just like we're still going to have a 1st-round pick this year. We're going to have a 1st-round pick next year. And it's just like, let's use those assets to help us get over the top when we're ready to get over the top. Meaning, let's use those as trade chips to help us get that guy that can help us get over the top when we're ready. And when I say when we're ready, when our core is ready, our core being Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, Isaac Okoro, and then we have guys on the periphery like Jetty, who I think actually I'll call Jetty part of that core too. Lamar Stevens is part of that core.
So when you say core, you must be talking about because they've been here. Because when I think of core, I look at the NBA like you have 2 stars and everybody else is interchangeable. Let's say, for example, the Los Angeles Lakers. So their roster of, I think what you got 15-man rosters in the league. I think they got like 3 dudes that came back. LeBron, AD, and THT. Everybody else is new. That's just NBA.
And they're a mess. They're a mess. Okay, they're under 500.
So let's just say Brooklyn then. So Brooklyn last year brought in 3 dudes so I'm just saying, like, that is the way it goes. Now, Golden State did something different. Utah did something different. And I like the Cavs can mimic that approach. But when I look at the core of the Cavs, I would say Jared Allen, Mobley, Garland, and Sexton. Outside of that, I don't think there's anybody on the squad that you really – and marketing. Although, do we have marketing for a while, or is he a one-year
No, he signed a 4-year extension.
Sergeant marketing.
Okay, so yeah. So
he signed a 4-year extension.
So I look at those dudes as the dudes who, we kind of don't want to trade. If we did trade them, you got to basically give us somebody that's going to make us instantly credible.
Well, when I say core guys, I agree with I agree with the guys that you named, but the other guys that I said, maybe they aren't core guys, but they're part of they're solid people in the rotation. Maybe I probably shouldn't have called them core guys, because I pretty much agree with the list of people that you said was core.
These trade rumors, though. These trade rumors.
What trade rumors?
Trade rumors for Cavs.
Oh, I hope the Cavs ain't taking part in none of them. And I hope the Cavs re-sign Colin Sexton. Because let me tell you something.
I'm talking about trading Colin Sexton.
No, that would be silly to me. You re-sign Colin Sexton. And I'm going to tell you why. Because one of the things that I think that the Cavs are doing right so far is you got people who are secure in their situation. And what I mean by that is when Lauri Markkanen first was acquired by the Cavs, we signed him to an extension, and then we told him he was going to come off the bench. If you remember the beginning of the year, that's what they said his role was going to be. Lauri Markkanen he was going to come off the bench to back up Evan Mobley. And because he had a 4-year guaranteed contract already, he was cool with it. Kevin Love, he making $30 million a year. They went to Kevin Love like, "Hey, K Love, you've been injured the past couple of years. You gonna come off the bench?" And guess what? He know he was on the books for 2 more years at $60 million, so he was cool with it. So when you get people in a situation where they're not feeling like they got to fill up the stat sheets to get their contract right now, they're more amenable to the team concept and doing what's best for the team. And if you go ahead and sign Colin Sexton to an extension, whether he comes off the bench or whether you do or JB does like what he was doing this year, meaning you started, but 3 minutes into the game, you went to the bench. Because really what I want you to do is run that second unit. However they finesse that, you know what I'm saying? That's ultimately what needs to happen. But I do think he should be a part of this team. I think it's very important that we continue to sign our players back. And what I mean by our players, the guys that we drafted.
The thing about it is, it will be very refreshing. Like the Cavs is almost like the un-NBA, because that ain't how you do it. But I guess that's what Giannis did. And that's what Giannis said. Giannis, after he won that championship, said, yeah, I didn't have to go somewhere to chase a ring. I want it here. So imagine being a team that not only draft your superstar in Evan Mobley, but draft everybody else too.
Right.
Draft your Sextons and draft your Gardens and you mentioned something else. Like imagine the Cavs bringing in a good draft pick next year. It don't have to be, a stud. But it has to be, let's say, a good outside shooter, or let's say a good dude that can slash, or just somebody that just brings in something. So I definitely like where they are, and I have not been this excited for Cavs basketball in the last couple of years. I mean, like, it's almost like the Cavs basketball is much-watched TV.
It is.
And
it is.
I don't know if you would have said that last year.
It is. It is must-watch TV. Yeah, I look forward to their games.
Are we going to make the playoffs, though?
We are going to make the playoffs.
So
we will make the playoffs.
How do you feel about marketing not being there? Is it going to make a difference is what I'm saying?
It definitely will make a difference. It definitely will make a difference.
Make the playoffs. I'm not going to say they're going to make the playoffs. I'm going to put them at the play-in. I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs. I'm not saying they're going to make the playoffs. I don't know if they win a game against an Atlanta squad or a Philadelphia squad for that play-in game. I'm not going to put them in the playoffs yet.
Okay.
I'm not. You get around late February and you top 4, you top 5, then we having a conversation. But right now, no. To me, the NBA season has not started. That's just me. I don't think the NBA season has started. I don't think that guys are really. I don't think the NBA season has started.
Apparently, the Los Angeles Lakers agree with you.
Okay.
I think they agree with you.
It's so funny how people will say that Tom Brady is the GOAT, and they will give Tom Brady all the credit that he won, but they won't give it to LeBron. They will say, "Oh yeah, we."
So let me ask you this then: on the trade deadline, who you think is still going to be on this roster? No, for the Lakers.
Oh. You said on the Lakers roster?
Yeah.
I don't know if the Lakers are going to really make any moves. Like, I'm telling you, bro, you don't realize it, man, but the Lakers are fucking loaded. The Lakers are having problems because they are trying to ingratiate Russ Westbrook. And to me, they are doing a very good job because, okay, so I'll be honest with you. Because I'm a Lakers fan, I watch every one of their games. I didn't used to watch Westbrook a lot. So, I would see the Sports Center highlight, the triple-double, and I would be like, damn, okay, this dude must be a baller. Westbrook is a fucking problem. And not a problem to the opponent. He's a problem to your team. This dude is just – I have never seen a basketball player as out of control as he is with a usage rate that he has. Like, when Russell Westbrook has the ball, you don't know if you're about to see a sweet play or you about to see one of the clownish plays that you've ever seen in your life. And you're going to get either one of them every time that dude gets the ball. So this experiment of bringing in Russell Westbrook has been a very, very interesting one, boy, because that dude he is a mess. He'll give you 30 points, 15 assists, and 12 rebounds, and within that game, he'll have like 7 turnovers. And you look at the turnovers,
right?
And you'll be like, what the fuck was you thinking about?
Just wild, right? It's just wild, out of control too many times. Just out of control too many times.
He is the epitome of out of control.
But yeah. Bron's going to have to do something. Bron's going to have to do something because that roster is not going to get them where they're trying to go. They're going to have to do something.
No, I think they are.
He's back out.
I think they are. I definitely believe that they're going to win the championship, and especially, okay, if you think about
what you say, you think they're going to win the NBA championship?
No doubt. If you think about, okay, so look at them in a playoff series. You coming in with Carmelo Anthony, you coming in with dudes like you coming in with like they have 6 legit Hall of Fame basketball players on their roster. They said the other day on SportsCenter 7, but I'm not putting DeAndre Jordan in the Hall.
I was trying to figure out who that 7th person was myself. Yeah. So is DeAndre Jordan?
That's the only person I can.
So name him. So we got Bron, we got Melo. We got
You got the
Westbrook.
big three. You got Rondo.
We got Anthony Davis, Rondo.
So I counted 6.
Dwight Howard.
Yep, that was number 6. Yep. So you got the big three. You got Carmelo, and you got Dwight Howard and Rondo. So I got 6.
So who was the 7th?
I'm
Hall of
just
Famers
assuming
playing for the Lakers.
The 7th must have been DeAndre Jordan. It must have been DeAndre
Is
Jordan.
he a Hall of Famer?
No. That's what. So
Trevor Reeves is gonna go.
Trevor Ariza?
At the end, he's gonna be one of them.
Hell no.
He's gonna be way down the line.
If Robert Horry ain't in the Hall of Fame, there's nowhere Trevor Ariza can get in there.
Trevor
I'm
Reeves.
talking about as a role player.
Trevor Reeves got about the same chance of going to the NBA Hall of Fame as I got. No. He got some rings, but he ain't going to the Hall of Fame. But I think that the other person has to be the 7th person has to be DeAndre Jordan that they were talking about.
Okay.
But again,
but
I don't think DeAndre Jordan is going to the Hall of Fame.
let me tell you this about the Lakers. Let me tell you this about the Lakers. And this is actually what I love about the Cavs. The NBA is a young man's game. And it's to where the Lakers have all of those Hall of Famers. That's great about what they've done in the past, but what are they doing and what can they do now when you're getting ran up and down the court by some 20-year-old? You know what I'm saying? That's why it's just like it's tough. It's just a tough situation. That's why it usually doesn't work when you get a bunch of older guys together, because at the end of the day, they not as hungry and they not as young and youthful as the young guys. You know what I'm saying? And the Cavs are in a great situation because they got, what's their average age at they core, like 22 or something like that? I mean, the Cavs are in a great situation.
Bro, if you look at the Lakers, okay, so when I say great situation, I'm talking about for the next 2 years. So when you get to the playoffs, those dudes are going to be valuable. You don't think Carmelo Anthony is going to be motivated? Look, you don't think Russell Westbrook is going to be motivated?
I've seen this movie several times before, and it never works. It never works when you get the old guys together and think because of who they used to be and who their name says they are, you can put them together and we can win an NBA title. It just doesn't work like that. It just doesn't. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like and you know, we don't have to go there now, but doesn't Bron have an opt-out for next year?
Bron ain't leaving the Lakers. Are you crazy?
Let me tell you something.
What?
The Lakers have so little cap flexibility and so little in terms of tradable assets. The only tradable asset that they really have that they can get something for is Russell Westbrook.
That's a sign. That's a sign of Bron.
Bruh.
Salary cap's fucked up.
Why would the Lakers want to trade anybody? Why would they want to trade anybody?
Because it's probably not their big three is not a winning proposition, and the one that doesn't fit in there is Russell Westbrook.
How much they paying Kent?
So again,
peanuts.
I don't think Golden State has enough, because I don't think Steph Curry is going to. Now, I've seen him do it. Don't get me wrong. I've seen him do it. But I don't think Steph is going to take that team to a championship. And you really don't have anybody else but Steph.
What about Clay? What about Clay be back? What about Andrew Wiggins? What about Draymond?
So I'm talking about.
What about Iguodala?
I'm talking about fourth quarter. I'm talking about fourth quarter, and you need a bucket. I don't see no dude on that squad that's gonna go get you a bucket.
How about a former Finals MVP? How about a Finals MVP? Because they got two of them.
Yeah, dog. I'm not.
Hey, look. Okay, I don't even want to spend too much. Yeah, they got two of them. Andre Iguodala and Steph Curry.
Steph Curry ain't win no Finals MVP.
He never won Finals MVP.
No, Kevin Durant won the two, and the first one was Iguodala. Steph don't show up in the finals.
Well, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that as a.
Huh?
Yeah, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that as a.
Book on Steph.
No, it's not.
You don't know that's the book on Steph?
No, not that he don't show up. You can say he doesn't dominate, but you can't say he doesn't show up.
Well, okay, that is the word on stuff.
Okay, well, hey. Okay.
The Browns got freaky L this week, right?
That's right. I was just about to start transitioning into that because that's what it is this weekend. It's the Browns and the Ravens. And look, this is a huge game for the Browns. The Browns, for a team that didn't play last week, did good. And what I mean by that is Pittsburgh, first of all, they beat the Ravens, and then they turned around and lost on Thursday Night Football. So they did their part. The Ravens did their part because they lost to the Steelers, and the Bengals did their part because they lost to the Chargers. So just like, believe it or not, like so much is still in front of the Browns. All they got to do is win games if they can figure out a way to win games. But let me tell you this. We got 5 games left, right?
Yep.
3 of them are division games. In our last 3 division games, or the first 3 division games that we played, our defense on average is giving up 15.7 points a game. There's no reason we shouldn't be undefeated in the division at this point, and there's no reason, if our defense continues to play like that we shouldn't win these next 3 division games. It's the offense is the problem.
The Browns are one win, 2 losses in the division. I don't follow your point.
My point is in those 3 division games we played, our defense is giving up 15.7 points, less than 16 points a game. So my point is the defense be balling in those games. The offense got to come to the party.
I can see the Browns beating Pittsburgh. I can see the Browns beating. I can see them beating Las Vegas. Don't get me wrong. This is best case scenario. I'll just put it like this: the only team that I can see without best case scenario is I can see them beating Pittsburgh. I think that Pittsburgh is basically done. You know, they won one for Roethlisberger after he announced it. It's a big rivalry game, but I think they're done. I
say never count those Steelers out. You never count
them out.
Never count
you
them
got
out.
them. You got them beating Baltimore tomorrow because Baltimore is more motivated than we are.
Well, if we plan on playing in the postseason, we better beat Baltimore. I mean, let's put it this way. If we don't beat Baltimore, that almost puts a nail in our coffin. It doesn't put a nail in Baltimore's coffin, but it almost puts a nail in our coffin.
I think that nail is there. I think I don't know how. I don't know. I don't see them beating Baltimore at all. And
well, I mean, we should have beat them last time. I mean, let's put it this way: if we scoring 10 and 12 points, yeah, we ain't gonna beat nobody. You know what I'm saying? If the offense if we still on that, because again, that was the point I was making. It is on the offense. The defense is doing what it's supposed to do. It's the offense is the problem.
So you got Baltimore and Las Vegas at home next 2 weeks, and then you go to Green Bay, and then you go to Pittsburgh, and you finish at Cincinnati. So if you come out of there,
no, we finished here for Cincinnati. We got Cincinnati here.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You're right. We finished Cincinnati here. So if you come out of there 3-2, what does that make you? 9-8?
Yeah, I think we got to win at least 4 of these games. I think we got to win at least 4 of these games.
You're saying go 4-1?
Yep.
Do you think that's realistic, or do you think that's just what you hope? Because
that's what I hope. That's what I hope. I mean, based off of what I've seen, I don't. But the point is I'm pointing the finger at the offense, and if we continue down that road, I'll point the finger even more specifically on offense. But that's really what I'm saying has been the issue. Now, what I'm hoping and the reason for optimism is because we had a bye week. So, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. The Eggheads had an opportunity to get into the lab and just dissect everything in terms of what we do well versus what we don't do as well. And, from there, you build the second half of your season's game plan. And, that's what they did last year. They used the bye week to do that last year. And I'm hoping, and they had success with it last year. So what I'm hoping is they can take a similar approach this year in terms of, because you figure the bye week is the only time where you really have your staff and you can give them that assignment of dissecting everything that was done the previous weeks versus having the game plan for another team, So hopefully they were able to do that.
I look at tomorrow's game, and don't get me wrong, I do think that they can beat Baltimore. I look at tomorrow's game because they intercepted dude 4 times last time. I look at tomorrow's game as you win tomorrow's game, that 4-1 is possible. You lose tomorrow's game, and I think you lose the season. I think you lose. You go into the bye on a loss to Baltimore in a game that you should have won, and now you come back home and you play Baltimore. It's set up great for them. I mean, I can see 4-1. I can't. The only team that I think that I don't think they're capable of beating Baltimore. So I don't want to say that. I don't think they're capable of beating Baltimore, but it is a division game.
So let me tell you who I think this is on too.
Green Bay.
Let me tell you who I think this. Let me tell you who I think the pressure is on too.
Just let me say this last part. I do think that you can beat Las Vegas at home. I do think you can beat Pittsburgh on the road. I do think you can beat Cincinnati here, especially if it's 4-something. Because that's what happened last year. Last game of the season was 4-something at Cincinnati, and you won that. So I think that tomorrow's game is the season. Tomorrow's game to me is the season.
It's gonna be an indicator. It's gonna be a big indicator because this is what I was gonna say. So even though it looks like the pressure is on Baker, I think the pressure is really on Stefanski. And this is why I say this. I don't expect Baker to all of a sudden start seeing the field well and making good reads tomorrow. But what I do expect is Stefanski and his offensive staff to have developed or schemed new plays that based off of what we do well, that won't be easily picked up by other defensive coordinators. And with that, you kind of doing some of Baker's work for him, and basically with these new plays, have these new design plays that scheme people open, so Baker doesn't have to figure things out, and he just knows where to go with the ball. Because that's when he has success, is when he knows where to go with the ball. The problem often comes in is if those initial reads aren't there and he has to find someone open, that's where you run into problems. So that's why I say that the pressure is on Kevin Stefanski to come up, to scheme up, design up some new plays, and you can't run the stuff that you've been running for the past season and a half. You got to run some new stuff.
That'll be interesting. I think that they don't have any receivers off tight end and wide receivers, and I think that's what hurt them. And I just don't like Stefanski's offense. But you do have a top running game. And with a top running game, you can do a lot off of that. So I would like some creativity. I would like for them to try to get the ball in their receivers' hands in space. So if nothing else, tomorrow is definitely must-watch TV. This is the Brown. Everything at the beginning of the season, all the hype, all of the Browns supposed to be this, the Browns supposed to be that. Tomorrow is the day. If you are what you said you are, then you didn't have a bye week. You didn't got everything cleaned up. Tomorrow is the day. That's what it comes down to.
It is.
If y'all Super Bowl, Super Browns, then tomorrow at home should be y'all should play Cleveland Browns football.
Right.
Show me.
If y'all ready to go on vacation and, you know what I'm saying, you got plans to Punta Cana, you know what I'm saying, and you want to do something fly and spend some of that money you've been making, then go ahead and lay an egg tomorrow, because then the season is essentially over at that point.
The funniest NFL story to me is the New England Patriots and Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick has been hearing all this year, oh, it was Brady. It was Brady. Brady left and won the Super Bowl. Bill ain't been asleep after the Super Bowl. Bill is definitely burning the midnight oil because he got his team. Like, they are literally.
Bill, like, they don't realize I'm great. They don't realize I'm great.
They are literally the number one seed in the country. I mean, in the league. So I mean, let's peel it back and let's look at this. You win a Super Bowl 3 years ago. You lose. You go back to 28-3. You come back and you beat Atlanta. You win the Super Bowl. You come back the next year and y'all look like garbage, hot garbage. Y'all don't have. All people talk about is New England has no playmakers. They have nobody. You lose Brady the next year. You lose the best quarterback in the history of football next year. You draft a rookie, and week 13, you are the number one seed in the AFC. That is a hell of a coaching job.
I think Belichick is the greatest coach of all time, man. I mean, it's like, and I'll even go back to those 2 championships or those 2 Super Bowls he won with the New York Giants with Bill Parcells. Bill Parcells was a great coach in his own right, but he never won anything without Bill Belichick. And if you think about those Super Bowls that Bill Parcells won, it was the defense on those teams that, more or less won the Super Bowl for him. They were defensive teams. And guess who the defensive coordinator was? You know what I'm saying? Bill Belichick is, to me, he is the greatest coach, the greatest mind in NFL history.
So I don't think they're going to the Super Bowl. I damn sure don't think they're going to win it. I think that Kansas City is the team.
No, I think they are. I think they are. I think that's Showtime. That's Hollywood. The story doesn't get any bigger than pupil versus student, Brady versus Belichick. You know what I'm saying? Or Belichick versus Brady. So I think that's the showdown that we looking for. But you're dealing with a rookie quarterback, and you really don't have any playmakers on him. You have no playmakers. That's a supporting cast, though. That's a supporting cast. The star of the show is Bill Belichick.
But what I'm saying is, you got to score in this NFL. Like, okay, so you got to score in the NFL. So you might be able to get this Mac Jones system quarterback stuff to work during the game, but you going up against Kansas City, who can throw 40 on you in a half? No, you're not coming out the East. I mean, you're not coming out the AFC.
Who you think throwing 40 on a Bill Belichick defense?
Patty Mahomes.
Okay, all right.
Tyreek Hill.
It ain't happening. It ain't happening.
But I definitely do like him bringing them back. When I talk to people from New England, when I was talking to people from New England last year, they were just, oh man, like the sky falling. And I'm like, y'all won like 6 Super Bowls. But they really was disappointed that their team wasn't good. So I know they got to be feeling good right now because they young.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they about to be good for a minute if they can get this quarterback.
Hey,
I don't believe in Mac Jones, but hey.
Yeah, that's just you. Belichick believe in him. But hey, did you hear that the Browns nominated Denzel for the Walter Payton Man of the Year award?
So that right there really, really makes me feel good. So Denzel is the NFL is the Browns representative for the NFL Man of the Year. And if you really think about, okay, what does that mean? Well, that means that his father instilled in him as a young man, make him know your name. And he's done that, and he has helped out tremendous stuff in the city. To me, I feel like a lot of times players get charities just because they supposed to. You got to. Like, I really don't believe in this. There's some players whose son may have an issue or daughter may have an issue to play Taylor. But for the most part, I think it's just kind of, okay, I go to the NFL, I'm a star, so I'm supposed to be, or the charity I do it.
Right.
But the Denzel, and I know Nicole. I've seen Nicole work with this Make 'Em Know Your Name Foundation and the stuff they do with the Heart Association. So let's say if Cooper Kupp, and I'm just throwing a name out, if Cooper Kupp had a charity, it wouldn't really mean nothing to me. But because I actually know these people and because I know their heart, man, that is like one of the greatest stories ever. And the fact that Paul pledged under me, I feel like I contributed to that sum. So that is that makes me really, really feel good that this dude is the Cleveland Browns Man of the Year. That is huge to me.
Okay. Yeah, I think it is an award rather that has some prestige to it, that people don't often look at it for what it means. But I think it is big because especially a lot of athletes don't get the opportunity to play in their hometown. So when you get the opportunity to play in your hometown, you know how and where to give back in those communities. And I think that's big. And, again, shout out to the Ward family for giving back in the way they contribute.
Tremendous thing. Like you said, he's from here. And so he's doing things that, kids his age can inspire to and say, if I make it big, I want to give back. So those types of things are great to me. And as great of a man as Paul was, he never had Denzel's platform, but he definitely had his passion. He definitely, for his platform, and Paul was a great dude, but I'm just saying, like, the NFL is on another stratosphere. But
right.
Just to know that man and to know how much work he put in to just support his neighborhood and to support his family and to support Cleveland, and for him to have a son that just takes that up and takes it to another level, it's amazing. Because imagine Paul on that stage, he would have did great things. But Paul is on that stage because his son is. You know what I mean? So that's
right.
It's amazing, man. It's like you see people do it, but because you don't know them, it doesn't really mean nothing. But to actually know this person and see it is really just a great thing. So shout out to Denzel, shout out to Nicole, shout out to Paul Jr. and that whole family, their mom, because they are a very, very close family. And just shout out to all of them. I love that family, and I love that I know them.
All right, well, okay, DJ. So, hey, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this show up. Make sure that you tune in next week. We will have a special guest appearance, and you'll have to see it to believe it. But make sure you tune in next Saturday, 1 p.m. We Talking Sports.
Well.